If you've been building presets inside of the MG-300 and you've been frustrated by using that tiny little screen, you're in luck because NUX has a free editor software called QuickTone. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to use it and build your first preset. So stay tuned. Well, hey, it's Scott at the Pedal Guy here. How you doing? Well, we're all about pedal demos, pedal knowledge, and pedal sales. I love pedals, and so do you. In this video, what I'm going to do is show you how to use the QuickTone editor to build your first preset inside of the MG-300. It is so easy, it is so intuitive, and you'll be working it really quick. In the next about 10 minutes, you'll be able to make your own preset. But what you want to make sure you do first is make sure that you download the software from the NUX website. I'll leave a link in the video description below. And also make sure that you update your MG-300 to the latest version of the firmware in order to make sure that it works properly. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. When you first load up the QuickTone app, it doesn't quite look like this. What I've done here is I've created a completely blank slate so that we can start from scratch and build a blues rhythm patch, which is the goal of this video. Now, you'll notice that I've also, if you look below, you'll notice that I've also zoomed in very tight there on the actual screen of the MG-300. So if you want to see what it looks like on the MG-300 as I'm making adjustments, you can. I had to zoom in real tight there, but we can get there. All right, so we're talking about a blues rhythm patch. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a simple amp, we're talking about tight compression, we're talking about a little bit of noise reduction, and we're talking about a tiny little bit of reverb on the end. That's personally the way I like to set up a blues rhythm patch. However, once I show you how to do this, you can do whatever you like. So no worries there at all. When we're looking at the screen, the GUI of the QuickTone app, this is the signal path up here in the upper right part of the application. So you've got your wah, compression, effects, amp, EQ, noise reduction, modulation, delay, and reverb. Up here at the top, you've got the ability to export and import patches, and also you've got your save button, which is very important in this case, and of course you've got your settings button so you can set up USB audio if you'd like to. And we have a reamp option here as well, and we're definitely going to take a look at that down the road so I can show you what we can do with that. But in this case, what we're going to do is build a preset, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is pop in an amp. So I've got my tele already set, and what I want to do is right-click over the amp section here, and you can see I have 25 different amps to choose from. Since we're doing blues, accept no substitutes, but a blues Tweedy amp. Okay, so we've got our blues Tweedy amp here, and if we listen to just the basic sound, it sounds good, but it doesn't have a lot of oomph to it. So what I want to do is I want to bring that master volume up to about 10, and I want to pull the volume back so that the gain doesn't break up too much. So I got that nice happy medium between a clean sound and a dirty tone. Okay, that'll work. Now, if I go down to the rehearsal space here, that's what I'm calling this, you can actually change the cabinet if you want to. So right-click on that cabinet, now you've got 25 different impulse responses that NUX has already provided that match the amps. Or you can bring in your own IR if you want. I'm going to go ahead and go to the tweed section here where I've got a choice between my 112, which is the default, or I can switch to a 410. So now it sounds remarkably better, I think, than it did last time. Additionally, I can change the microphone. So I can go to the microphone, right-click on it, and I've got one of 4 different choices. Now, the tried and true studio mic of choice for amps is an SM57. That's the standard. But I personally like either a C414 or a U87. So let's try that C414. That's a nice one. I really like that. Okay. All right. So that's the amp. We'll probably have a little fun with that later on too. Going back to the signal flow now, let's bring some compression into the game. So I'm going to right-click on the compressor, and I'm going to select Red Comp. Now, you can also hear a little bit of noise going on in the background. That's because my computer is sitting on top of my MG-300, and I've got another computer over here. We've got some line noise here. So we're going to take care of that with some noise reduction in just a second. So bear with me. But what I've got here is my output, and I've got my sensitivity. I'm going to turn the sensitivity to about 12 o'clock, and that should give me a nice pumpy compression. Perfect. That's exactly the way I want it. I like a nice pumpy, tight compression on a rhythm section because I don't want it to overtake everything else that's in the mix. Remember, you want it to fit in the pocket of what you're trying to create. So you don't need to create some overblown thing. You can make it a very decent sounding rhythm just with just a couple of basic moves. Now let's address that noise problem. I'm going to go to the noise reduction section here, and I'm going to bring in a noise reduction. Oh, it looks like a Boss noise gate, doesn't it? Okay. There we go. Let's bring that sensitivity up a little bit. So here's where we were. And here's where we are now. It's so quiet. Okay, now finally, the last thing I like to do is put some reverb on it. And I'm going to go to the reverb section and select plate. And like everything else, I like to just flavor it to taste. Now, plate reverb can be very pronounced. So I like to keep it, again, because we're talking about a rhythm part, I like to keep it very, very low. So we just have a nice complement. Okay, so that's just a little noodling, but that you get the point. Now, one last thing, I'm going to change the name of this preset. I'm going to go to TPG, not empty. Now, you may notice that if you look on the MG-300 screen, again, down below, you can see that that name has not been reflected or anything hasn't been reflected yet. That's because we haven't saved yet. Don't forget to save. Go to that disk icon, select save, and now you're free and clear. So we now have our first rhythm patch. Now I've also created a lead patch that kind of complements this a bit. So let's go up to blues lead. Now this one sounds remarkably different. And a couple of reasons for that. One, I switched to a Bassman amp. So we went from a blues tweed to a Bassman. So that's obviously going to give you a much different sound. I can even go a little further and I can change that to a C414 or to an E906 dynamic. Oh, I just love that sound. Okay, I'm going to stick with that. Now let's look at the signal path here. In this case, I've got the compressor, but I have the sensitivity set way down because I don't need it to overtake everything. To the right of that, I have the tube screamer, and that's reefed pretty hard there in the drive section. Again, there's the Bassman. To the right of that, we have the noise reduction, and I'm just going to turn the sensitivity up just a little bit. To the right of that, I've got a tape echo, and as you can see, the level is very low, very tight time, and very low repeats, just so you get a little taste. And then on the end, I like me a good spring reverb, and this one sounds amazing. So I'm going to stick with that. Now, one thing I want to show you, and this is one of the cool things I love about this app, you can change the signal path on the modulation effect. So if I go to the mod section and select a PH90, it's a phase 90. You can see that it comes after the amp. What if I wanted to put it before the amp? Well, very simply put, just click and drag, and there it is, right before the amp. So here's what it sounds like now. And that's how you build a preset inside of the QuickTone app that comes with the NUX MG-300. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any further questions, be sure to visit us at thepedalguide.com. But in the meantime, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly videos and tutorials. Thanks for stopping by here at thepedalguide.com, where I love pedals and so do you.